Hi there and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm IceMan and today we're going to do a guide on Archmage Hellmut. So this chap, you get him from Doom Tower, basically from the normal mode of doing the secret rooms, collecting the fragments there. And yeah, he's a really cool champ, so obviously let's take a look at him. He's a Magic Affinity Epic Support Champion with the Bannerlords. Has a very nice aesthetic about him with sort of this lightning wreathed staff slash spear thing that he's got going on here. Lightning wreathing around his torso and gloves to a degree as well, I believe. Yep. And you know, he just looks really cool. So I like this chap. He brings a lot to the game. Let's start off taking a look at him. Now I will say he's not fully booked out. I don't have the books to do it, so I've got him as close as I can and we'll see how he does. Arcane Dynamo, he's A1. Attacks one enemy and fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. Fills the turn meter by 20% if the attack is critical, so obviously you build him out for crit. The only thing you book in here is damage. And he does some alright damage. He's not a massive damage dealer. That's not what he's built for, but you know, he's more of a sport champ. Then he's A2. Time Slip. Attacks one enemy. Also attacks all other enemies if the first attack is critical. Again, build him out for crit. The second hit has a 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. This can actually be booked up to 75. Currently for me, I've not got him quite that far. I've got him at 60, I believe. Yeah, 60. Has a 50% or 75% chance when booked, chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. After attacking, decreases the turn meters of each enemy without a stun debuff by 20%. So even if you don't place a stun, you're actually going to decrease turn meter by 20%, which is actually really solid. So, you know, really cool. This also makes him viable and useful for the spider, obviously, to help keep that turn meter down somewhat. Then we've got his A3 Psychic Guidance, places a 30% increased speed buff, a 30% increased crit rate buff, and a 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now, there's not many champs with this sort of ability in the game. I think there might be one or two others. Off the top of my head, Martial Art, he does it, plus he puts out True Fear, and I think he does something else with it as well. But without looking at him, I don't have him, so I can't. Not without getting off the screen anyway, which I'm not going to mess on with. You know, so I think there's been some other newish ones introduced that maybe do something similar as well. But yeah, really cool ability on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Starts off at a 5-turn cooldown. Obviously these buffs only last for 2 turns, but you take the right thing, you can increase that. I've not actually gone that route. In hindsight, I maybe would redo his Masteries and go that route, but we'll see how he plays first. I want to try him out for a good little while in the build I've got him before changing, and see how that goes. But in theory, you know, if you do take the right Mastery, you could technically get that for 3 turns, at which point it's just up all the time, which is great. Then we've got his passive, Chrono Isolation, immune to turn meter decreasing effects, which is brilliant. So, you know, you take him into the arena, anywhere else, and he's facing people that are dropping turn meter. He ain't going to get none of that. He's perfectly happy the way he is. He's going to sit there at the same speed without any effect whatsoever. That's just great. Then on top of which, he's also got an aura. Ally increases ally speed in arena battles by 17%. It's not huge. I think it's possibly on par with High Cartoons, but if you've got nothing else and you pull him early on from doing earlier parts of the Doom Tower repeatedly, you can bring him in as your speed lead if it's the fastest you've got, and he'll do all the rest of this stuff as well. So really solid. Let's take a look at his artifacts. Start with his total stats. So I've managed to get him up to 35k health, nearly 36. The attack, it's really hard to build on these. Damage is based off of attack, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. So, and he's high. His attack is actually quite low at 900. Personally, I feel that they would have been better off making him a HP champion or a defense champion, and then basing his damage off of those things, since those are both higher and would scale much better, which would be really cool. He's got a standard speed of 108, which is really good, really solid. So I've got him up to 231 speed, 111 crit rate. Yes, I know it's a bit over, but I happened to get a bad roll on something, and that's the way it went. And I didn't really have anything in the set to replace it, so this is what we're stuck with. Crit damage 150, well 149, but it's not amazing. But again, like I say, he's not a big damage dealer anyway. It just means you're building him out for crit, obviously, for his abilities, and then whatever damage you can get out of him, great. Resistance, I've not built him for high resistance really, but you know, he's got a bit of resistance. Accuracy I have built him for, and he's at 353, so he's actually good enough for the hard Doom Tower, which is the way I'm trying to build all my champions now. Even though I don't generally do it all the time, all that far into it, at least I know if I'm building them for hard Doom Tower, I don't have to swap things out too much when it comes to doing that. Yes, it's overkill for dungeons. It's definitely not overkill for the arena, which is the other place he's used. Which, quite frankly, if you're going to use them a lot in the arena and you want to be getting more use out of that stun, it's only a 75% chance. So, solid for the hard Doom Tower. Not necessarily solid enough for the arena, but, you know, we'll see how he does if I take him in there. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've got him in. So, we've got him in an accuracy banner, obviously, with speed, and to be fair, you want him staying up, so defensive stats are good, and they're actually the higher one on him, but you also want him doing a bit of damage, so you also want the attack, so it's kind of hard to figure out which way to go there. I've gone for crit damage neck in the hopes that obviously I will do more damage with him. He's got one roll in accuracy, I would have preferred two. I didn't get any necks that I could use for him without stealing it off of other champs that I use elsewhere, which I didn't want to do. I've gone for a HP ring for the moment, just because it gives him that little bit more survivability, and obviously his HP is a good higher number. We've got an attack roll. I would have preferred a double attack roll, and then we would have got a bit more attack out of it, but you know, you take what you can get. Now we've gone for that sort of making sure he's up to crit, building on his accuracy and his speed, and then just taking all the other stats where we can. Because of that, he's kind of stat hungry, but we've got him in perception sets across the board, which obviously helps boost his speed and helps boost his accuracy, which is what we want. We could have gone speed sets, but we got to a pretty decent speed without it, so I'm happy with that. All our 5-star pieces are rolled up to 16. We've got a couple of 6-star pieces here. I've left them rolled down at 12, except for one that's a little bit higher, but it's still not at its max. A couple off, to be fair. So basically around about 5-star gear all across the board, and that's how we wanted to do it. Is Masteries. We've gone down the offense tree. Sorry, wrong bit. So if we move me out of the way for the moment, over to here, you'll see that we've gone down for the crit rate. That actually, to be fair, in hindsight, I've got enough crit rate, I don't need it. I'd actually be better off taking the attack. I think I might have already re-rolled him, and because, I mean, for the sake of an extra 75 attack, I'm not going to worry about it now, because if I do have a free roll, I'd actually like to maybe look at putting more accuracy in him for the arena. We'll see. To be fair, I'm quite happy with my arena team, so I might not, at which point this will stay his build, and I might still roll that over to there at some point. But for the moment, we'll start off by saying he's overcapped on his crit, so obviously you should go for the attack one, and you know, I wish I had, but I wasn't paying attention. Plus I was actually still rolling some bits of gear on him. I was actually at a perfect 85 with this, and then I rolled a piece up to 16 that was legendary, and unfortunately got roll where I didn't want it, and it upped his crit. So that's, to be fair, why it is the way it is. So attack or crit, whichever's better for you here, based on the gear you've got. This isn't necessarily saying you should go this route, this is just the way I've gone. Down in the crit damage, obviously, so you can get more crit damage. Down in singled out, increases damage with targets less than 40% HP. Increased damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with a higher max HP. Increase the damage inflicted by this champion's default skill by 2% each time it's used during battle stacks across up to 10%. So for longer fights like clan boss or bosses and dungeon bosses and stuff, where they're maybe a bit longer, like Doom Tower and stuff, again, that is going to stack up nicely and you get more damage. And then we've gone down to War Master so that he gets the higher damage there, obviously. Now, like I say, you could go either way with him. Accuracy, if you need the higher accuracy and you're not able to get it, to be fair, if you're planning on mainly using him in an arena, there's nothing wrong with still going accuracy and even coming all the way down and taking Eagle Eye just to get that extra 50. Again, it's based on where you're going to be using him. Don't copy this blindly. For me, I'm probably going to mainly use him in dungeons and Doom Tower, so for me this is a solid build. We've got defense, down into mitigates AoE, down into increase the amount of healing and the value of shield buffs this champion receives. I figured, based on the fact that, you know, I might be sticking him with somebody like Warlord, Brogni, Valkyrie, people who put out big shields. Increasing the shield he gets is not a bad thing and will help keep him up. I would have liked to have gone down to this, but because I think it's a good solid ability, increase ally resist by 5 for each buff placed on by this champion. Any pace is free on each champion, so it's a really solid one to go for. I'll explain why I didn't in a sec. We've gone for the heals this champion by 6% of their max HP each time an enemy is healed. I could have gone either way there, to be fair. I wasn't really sure entirely which one to take with him. Chance of removing a debuff when you lose X amount. Reduces the damage from a specific target enemy. Increases your turn meter when your allies are hit with crits. Now this one I thought was worthy taking on him, especially for me, since I'm going to be trying to use him in Dungeons and Doom Tower, because you've got a fairly decent chance of placing stuns, and when you do place a stun, you've got a 60% chance of placing a leech, which, let's face it, really helps keep your team healed up and stuff, especially on bosses and the like. So I thought, like I say, if you're going to use him in the arena more, I would say forego that, go for the this one, unless you're going down this tree because you're using him in the arena more, to be fair. Again, if you're not worried about damage and you're actually wanting to use him just as a purely support champion, there's not really anything wrong with getting him critted out. You only get that 5% crit out of here, so long as you can hit his max crit anyway, there's nothing wrong with actually going defense and support with this champion. And then you, especially if you're using him in the arena, then you can get that increased resist for all your champs, for all the buffs you're placing out there, and all the defensive stats here, plus get the accuracy from over here. You can go many different ways with this champion, as you can with all of them really. This is just the route I'm trialing and seeing how we go, but I like the idea of the leech for dungeons and stuff and for Doom Tower bosses. Has a 50% chance to counter attack when this champion loses 25% of their max HP. You know, again, it's a good one. It's going to get him going out there with his A1 increasing his turn meter, so that's not bad at all. Like I say, if you're going to go arena, you really maybe even want... He's not the biggest damage dealer out there. You're going to bring him to increase stats of other champions. So there's definitely nothing wrong with going defense and support at that point. Alright, so before I forget, we'll move myself back over here. If I didn't, it wouldn't be the first time. But, you know... let's take me into some content before it takes too much longer. Start with the arena today. Let's do a refresh. Alright, so fairly standard sort of speedy team. So you can see we're a fairly similar sort of setup. I'm I've managed to go first. They may well cut in, and they are, because I'm not speed tuned. This isn't the normal sort of team I run, so that was not a good example. And it's why you really need to be speed tuned. And in fact, actually, I'll leave that in there because it really does stress the point. If I was wanting to use this sort of team on a regular basis, then you would need to speed tune this. You'd need to get Madame Ceres within 30% of Arbiter or whatever it is that she boosts by, and then so on and so forth. It's not the easiest thing, especially if you've got a really fast speed lead. That means all your champs need to be really fast to stay in tune and not get cut in on, which is actually really hard to do. I've done a similar sort of thing on my alternate account, and I am running a speed team on there. On my normal team, because I run Hegemon normally, I don't have to worry about that so much, and then I run a good fast team beside that, but they're not as speed tuned and they don't need to be for the way I run them. We'll try this one instead, although they've got another speed boost and they're quite a bit fast, higher team power than me. Alright, let's try this one. They're a little bit lower than me. Doesn't really mean anything. No, they're faster. But now I've cut in on them. So the reverse of what happened the last time. Get that decreased defense out. Keep forgetting which one it is. This is A3. So we've increased the crit damage. We've got decreased defense out on most of them. Echelon comes in with his big hit. And there you go. That's most of them nuked down. Of course then she does her little thing, which I really hate, but we'll get her down. And we'll use Astrolon. So that's both ways it can go, and obviously the importance of speed tuning was shown in both matches. In the first, obviously I lost due to the fact that I went first. They cut in, they beat me. In the second, I went second. I cut in, I beat them. And you know, it just goes to show the importance of speed tuning if you're trying to use a speed team, which I don't normally on my main account. And just for this video, I wasn't going to go messing around massively, changing gear, trying to get them faster, taking gear off of loads of champions, trying to speed tune them. It's not something I do regularly, so I just wanted to showcase how he can come in and boost your damage and be really helpful in the arena. So we've done that with that match, and now we're going to, or a couple of matches there, one we lost, one we won. Now we're going to go to dungeons. So where can you use him in the dungeons? He's magic affinity, so I do believe that means he's strong for the ice golem at stage 20. If you're still doing that, and stage 25 he's just neutral, so that he's good either way there. And he obviously does bring the increased crit damage, the increased speed, plus he brings stuns to help you on the waves and stuff, so he's definitely going to be beneficial. I'm not going to run it because quite frankly I don't like the ice golem. I find it boring and far too long most of the time. Spider's Den, it can be really good for you there if you're running max HP champs. Now I do have a bunch of max HP champs. Unfortunately, mine are built for various different other areas, and their speeds are set for that. So I'd need to change up too much gear to try and boost their crit damage up high enough and all the rest of it. I do need to at some stage, but at the moment I haven't actually got a team that can really run that max HP, even though I've got the champs, because they're just not geared for it. And obviously you need high gear requirements, like really high crit damage and attack and all the rest of it, to really nuke down and take advantage of that. But he can obviously come in, put an increased crit damage out there on everybody and increase crit rate. So if your crit rate is just a bit shy, as it is actually on my champions, that then boosts them up so they're 100% crit. He also then increases their crit damage and makes them able to nuke even harder, so he is really solid for that. Then on top of which, obviously he does do a turn meter decrease when he doesn't stun, and he can help stun the spiderlings. Obviously if you're running a max HP one, it's not the way to go. If you're not running a max HP one, he can still help you do more damage, and it can decrease turn meter, but it depends what sort of strat you're running. Earlier stages that may work better. Later stages, if you're not running enemy max HP, chances are you're trying to run a HP burn, at which point you actually don't want everybody doing more damage because you don't want to kill off the spiderlings. So at which point it becomes less effective for that sort of run. Fire Knights, you know, he's not really going to be great there. He's the wrong affinity, I believe, at least for stage 20. Yeah. And actually, no, he's strong affinity for stage 25, so he might be able to help you there with increasing damage and crit rate and all that, and your stuns to help get you through the waves, but he's not going to do much for getting you through the shield because he doesn't have multi-hits. Where I feel he's best used is going to be in the Doom Tower, which obviously we're only 2 days into a new Doom Tower at the moment, so can't really show you much there. And the next best place I think for him is actually in the Dragon, which we'll showcase now. So we're bringing him in, and he does the stuns and everything, so you can actually bring out Syl and put in somebody like Arbiter. Then you've still got the stuns, you've still got the revives, and you've still got people doing some good damage. So we're going to try this and see how it goes. Obviously it'll actually help you get through the waves because your nukers are actually going to do more damage with him there with the buffs he's putting on you, in theory. None of my champions are built for endgame. They're not like all over 250 crit damage. I think they're mostly around the sort of 220ish mark, so they could really be increased there, which is why I say they're not great for Spider 20. If you're trying to do Spider 20, you really need them sort of really optimized, and probably I'd say upwards of 250 crit damage to really have a chance at that one. So as you can see, we've got to the the dragon. I'm going crazy. I know that is not a spider. That is a dragon. This is a spider. That is a dragon. This is a spider. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've got here in around a minute, so about the usual sort of time I would get here, to be fair, so it's not actually really sped things up as much as I would have liked, having that increased crit damage on there. And as you can see, my fastest time, which I think was done with Fushan in the lead, and bits of luck and all the rest of it, obviously RNG being on your side, was 1:17. I'm not a speed. I'm not doing speed runs. I'd maybe look at Royal Guard's quite a good one because obviously he's at AOE max HP, so he does some good AOE damage and can help get through the waves. Xavier as my poisoner can obviously help me do that as well, so at some point I'd like to maybe build up a Gerp Tuck, bring him in here with this guy, and then just see if taking Cold Art out we actually still do better, or even take out Arbiter, because let's face it, we weren't in danger there, we didn't really need the Reviver in. So you bring out some more, you put in Gerp Tuck there, and then you're getting more damage out of these guys, and see if that speeds up my run. Or even put in Fushan, take Xavier out of the lead. He also brings stuns and a good solid speed lead. I do actually have somebody else that I recently showed for an even better dungeon speed lead, but he doesn't really bring anything else to the fight, so it's not really ideal other than as a speed lead. But as you can see, you know, he's a good solid champ. He's got those stuns, he's got the turn meter manipulation, he brings some really solid buffs to your team to help you do more damage. There's nothing bad to say about this champion. He's just a good solid champion and built really well. So many that they've built in this game, especially older champions, like the skill, or even some of the newer ones, to be fair, you know, they've got skills that do for here, skills that do for there, but they don't really mesh well and stuff like this. This guy can be used just about everywhere. I'm not saying to try him in the clan boss, especially with the turn meter increases, decreases, all the rest of it. Obviously you can't decrease turn meter on the boss, but with his turn meter increases you can put yourself out of tune for any speed tunes. So he's not necessarily ideal for that one. But Doom Tower, yes. Arena, yes. Dungeons, pretty much all of them if you need to or want to. He's certainly not bad. Like I say, Doom Tower, he's certainly going to be a bonus there in certain places. He's an all-around really solid champ, and obviously Faction Wars, he's just immense. You know, he'll really help you there. And I do feel Bannerlords is kind of one of those factions that I think is actually a bit weak and naff at the moment. You know, obviously there's one or two champs in that faction that are great, like Septimus, but around that you don't have a lot of really good champs, so he is really solid. You've got some really solid legendaries, I think, like Raglan and stuff like that, but if you don't have them, then it's not great. So he's a big boost there. All in all, he is a really solid champ. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know it's a good video and more people should watch it. And, you know, if you like my content, if you like watching me, by all means, please hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. You'll get notified next time I release a video, and you can watch that one too. I'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Bye.